Hi, everyone, and welcome. We're about to bring a really beautiful story to life. It's a tale all about beginnings, big promises, and, well, one very, very special family. All right, let's dive right in. Imagine this. Our story starts at the very, very beginning of everything. Picture a time when there was just darkness, nothing at all. But even then, there was this amazing spirit of wonder, just waiting to create something truly extraordinary. So, first things first, a world of pure wonder was made. It was a perfect home, filled with shimmering light, rich land, and the most incredible creatures you can imagine. It was like a masterpiece of imagination, all brought to life with just a word. And it all happened in this magical sequence, one day after another. Everything we know and love came into being, from the tiniest little seed to the biggest, brightest star in the sky. He made the sun to light up our days and the moon to watch over us at night. It was all leading up to the final amazing masterpiece. And here's the final perfect touch. The very first people, Adam and Eve, they were given this really special job to take care of this beautiful world. And they got to live in the most amazing place, a garden called Eden. Now, what's so interesting is that even in this perfect place, there was just one rule. That's it, just one. But oh, it was a rule that came with a very important choice. So they could enjoy absolutely everything in the garden. Imagine that, a whole world of yummy fruits and beautiful things to see. There was just one exception, the fruit from one very special tree. That was it. That was the only rule. But sadly, a tricky serpent came along and, well, they made a very difficult choice. And because of that one choice, they had to leave their perfect garden home. They had to step out into a new and very different world. But you know what? The story is far from over. A long time passed, and the world had become a pretty tough place to be. It really needed a fresh start, a chance to wash everything clean and just begin again. So God found a kind man named Noah, and he gave Noah a huge, super important job to build a giant boat called an ark. This ark was going to save his whole family and two of every single kind of animal from a great flood that was going to cover the entire world. And after all the floodwaters finally went away, God made a beautiful promise. He placed a rainbow in the sky and said it would be a sign that he would never, ever flood the whole earth again. It became this wonderful symbol of hope and of a brand new start. Now, here's the really important part. This promise, it wasn't just a one-time thing. Nope. It was actually the beginning of an even bigger promise, one that was going to be passed down through a whole family. This time, God chose a man named Abraham, and he promised him something incredible, that his family would grow so big that it would become a great nation. He said Abraham would have more descendants than you could ever count stars in the night sky. Wow! And just like that, the promise was passed down through the family. It went from Abraham to his son Isaac, who was a real miracle, by the way, born when his parents were very old. Then it went to Isaac's son, Jacob. And Jacob, he had 12 sons of his own, and they were the beginning of a whole great people. But, even in a family with such a huge promise, things can get, well, a little complicated. And they definitely did for one of Jacob's favorite sons, a young dreamer named Joseph. You see, Joseph's dad gave him this beautiful, colorful coat, just as a sign of how much he loved him. But it kind of backfired. It made his older brothers feel really jealous and left out. And that beautiful coat, it sadly became a symbol of just how angry they were. And that jealousy, it turned into a terrible, terrible plan, especially after Joseph told them about his dreams, where they were all bowing down to him. They got so angry that they sold him as a slave, and then went home and broke their father's heart with a horrible lie. But here's the thing. What looked like the absolute end for Joseph, all alone, betrayed by his own family, was actually just the beginning of something incredible. His journey was a long, long way from being over. So in Egypt, it turns out Joseph had this amazing gift. He could interpret dreams. And he used that gift to save the whole country from a terrible famine. The Pharaoh was so grateful that he put Joseph in charge of everything. He became the second most powerful man in all of Egypt. It's amazing when you think about it, right? You have these two sides of the story. On one hand, his brothers had this plan filled with jealousy, but on the other hand, there was this much bigger plan of hope that turned something awful into something wonderful for everyone. So, get this. Years and years later, who shows up in Egypt looking for food? His brothers. And they had no idea who he was. They just bowed down before him, fulfilling the exact dreams that had made them so angry in the first place. And Joseph could have been angry, right? He could have wanted revenge, but he didn't. He chose forgiveness. He told them who he was and explained that even though they meant to harm him, their bad choice had been turned into a good plan that ended up saving everybody. So this whole incredible story, all the way from a perfect garden to a family brought back together by forgiveness, it really leaves us with something powerful to think about, doesn't it? It makes you wonder, what does it really mean to turn hurt into hope in our own lives?